Aye, 'tis nice to be out of govern into the fresh air of the Highlands.
Hootsman, where ye be going?
I'm off to the mine to get some happy smiling faces for Berrydoll and the bairns. Up the airy mountain and down the rushy glen, we dare not go a-hunting for fear of little men. I will tell you this, boy, I will tell you this, I've seen Nesmith ain't afraid of no little men.
In honour of Burns Night, we're looking at Computer and Video Games, November 1983, Volume 3, Number 2, where on page 76 we find a game called Haggis-Bash. This was inspired by a conversation I had on the ZX Computing Discord, where we discussed the lack of any Haggis-based games on the ZX Spectrum, but I did find this one for the BBC Micro. It's by Leigh Hugill, it's for the BBC B in 25K. Mr. Hugill went on to produce 2 games for the ZX Spectrum. Stay Cool and Transneutron, both published by Bug Byte Software. I've typed the game in, I've saved it to disk, now I'm loading Haggis-Bash. I've called the name Haggis, it's perfectly reasonable. Whirring of the disk. BBC Micro has various options for listing, which I'm not going to use. Go straight into the game. Play Haggis-Bash. Hit a key for instructions. Nice use of big letters there. We are Billy Basher, trapped in a mine. We must collect the bonuses and avoid the Haggises and spiders. There are 4 little graphics there. Harry Haggis, the bonus, Billy Basher and Sammy Spider. Controls are ZX, colon and /, and it all goes a bit wrong. There's a very large array called P. However, I've typed this incorrectly. Perfectly fine, I'm not wrong here. The problem is that I've got a disk drive which takes up a rather large chunk of RAM. I've got to switch to using a tape instead. Switching to a cassette tape has its issues and that loading is now very, very slow, but I can load the game into memory. Looks about the same. We got the instructions again. There's Haggis-Bash. We've seen the instructions before, but will we actually get to see the game? We also have Monster Repellent, which you activate with a shift. Here's the game, a standard cross of St. George, not of St. Andrew. And there is our little flashing man, and a horrible high-pitched beeping noise whenever we move. We can see the Haggises hatching from their eggs and chasing us as we try and eat the smiling faces. I'm trying to go up. The problem you have with colon is you can only get it by pressing shift and certain characters on the normal PC keyboard, whereas on the BBC Micro it's a dedicated key. You need to switch to default key mapping, in which case the colon is the apostrophe key just above / and it works fine. So you collect the bonuses. I've got 3 lives left. Repellent is spelled wrong, by the way. But the Haggises are just about chasing me. Here he comes. Harry Haggis. Not Harry Haggis. And he's got me a rather nice skull and crossbones there for death. Now, no, I've instantly gone to level 2. By dying, you proceed to the next level. I've died again, because it's got a little bit faster. I'm now on level 3, just by virtue of dying. And it's a little bit faster still. That's not quite right now, is it? So try and collect these little smiling faces. They're coming after me. There's Sammy Spider. If Sammy Spider moves into you, he'll kill you, but he'll also kill the Haggises, which gives you a bonus of 50 points, which is nice. Pressing shift unleashes your Haggis repellent, possibly some kind of spray. It runs out very quickly though. You do get a new set when you go to a new level. But it moves quite nicely. The beeping really is quite annoying though. I do not like this high-pitched beeping or screeching in your ear. Maybe it's the noise of the hunting haggis, which will be enough to put a chill down your spine. These smiling faces are enormously Scottish. Billy Basher himself isn't wearing a kilt. You can clearly see he's wearing trousers, which is obviously wrong. But what can you do? And the characters aren't animated. However, we are very short of memory, as we shall see moving forwards. There's not a lot of memory available for the BBC Micro using what's called Mode 1, which is high definition graphics with 4 colours. 4 colours, you say? We're only using 2. More on that later. We move around, we try and get the happy smiling faces, being pursued here by a haggis. I've run out of repellent. And that is game over for Billy Basher. The BBC Micro Archive has a version of Haggis-Bash which is loadable from disk. How do they do it? I'm not entirely sure. But they load up a boot program. You get a nice instruction from the magazine in lovely colours, red and green, giving Mr. Hugill his proper credit. The game itself is rather clever. The basic code exists on the disk, but it's loaded by some kind of machine code, and you can't see what the basic is because they've disabled the break key. However, it does genuinely load from disk and works perfectly fine. They are very, very clever people. Whereas previously it would fail on a bad dim on line 150 because of space, here it just loads. And it works fine. They have fixed one bug, which I fixed from the magazine, which is when Sammy Spider moves to the right, it puts a space where the wall should be. But it loads perfectly fine. Mode 1 on the BBC Micro gives you 4 colours, high definition graphics, but takes up 20k of memory. By loading the game here, we can clearly see that we don't have enough memory to run. But what happens if you change to Mode 4? Mode 4 gives you the exact same high definition graphics, but only supports 2 colours, black and white, and requires 10k of memory. If we change line 80 to Mode 4, we find the game loads perfectly fine with disk. It's a good game. Let's make it better. I-ho, 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 I-ho. It's off the mine we go.
Och, it's got a wee thirst. Oh no! Haggis!
Snorkification is a gradual process. You start off slow, get some ideas and see what works. The first snorkified version of Haggis-Bash is Haggis-01, and I fixed a few very simple errors. The spelling of repellent, although I still don't spell it right, but there was a missing L, which I added in. There was an error where Sammy the Spider put a space over the wall. I fixed that. It was changing 3 spaces in the source code to 2 spaces. And also I fixed the error where whenever you died, you would go up a level. Whenever you generated the maze, it would add 1 to the level you were on. And whenever you died, you generated the maze again. I took that bit out, set you at the start to maze 1, and you only go up a maze once you clear the screen. When you clear the screen, once you've collected 40 smiling, happy faces. And as you can also tell, I got rid of that horrible, horrible beeping noise, the piercing shriek of the haggis, which was line 270. I just didn't like it. It just wasn't nice. So I'll just remove that. I will replace it later on. Haggis-02. Mode 1 gives you 4 colours. We only use 2, so let's use some more, and move some brighter colours. And also, let's use some of these user-defined graphics, which you can do on the BBC Micro, which you've already got them already. I changed the colours to red and green from black and white, going for sort of a tartan effect. I tried to change the outside wall to this tartan plaid affair, but I got the inner walls instead, but they look quite nice. You're now tunnelling through the tartan. And all I had to do was change the solid block into a tartan effect. Haggis 3, I thought, well, let's use a bit more colours rather than 2. So we now have the background is green, the tartan walls are red and green, the monsters and the happy smiling faces are black, and Billy Basher himself is blue. No, I still can't move through the bottom middle square, and I don't know why. Haggis 4 added changed it to Scottish Gaelic to wish you good luck and well done once you've got an extra Billy Basher life. Make it a little bit more Scottish. Now, Haggis-05, I make it even more Scottish. You're fighting haggis, and what goes well with haggis? Well, neeps and tatties, or turnips, as they're otherwise known. And I changed the bonus to a turnip, added another bonus character, which is the potato, and these are now the bonuses. You have to collect your neeps and tatties to go with your lovely Burns night supper. And you can see here, there's Billy Basher flashing away, and the tartan mine is filled with neeps and tatties, ready for you to collect. And one more thing to add to the game. I thought, yeah, just add one more thing, and then version 6 will be done. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as simple as that. Here's version 6. It's a bit bigger. We get the instructions before. Here's Billy Basher, collect the neeps and tatties, and we run out of space. Dim space line 150 again. This is not so good. I'd added a load more data at the end of the programme, because I wanted to play a little tune. The BBC comes with a sound chip, and that lets you play music while doing something else. So I loaded all the data into memory. This is the tune for Scotland the Brave. So I couldn't have all the data in the program, but instead I could put the data directly into memory. Line 899 is how I declare the memory to be preserved by the BBC Micro. And on lines 921 and 922, this is me putting the data directly into memory. And then I can save this memory directly to tape as tune data with a special command. *save. *save tune data, starting address in hexadecimal, ending address in hexadecimal. To save a bit more space in my program, I moved the character definition parts out into a loading program, which I called Haggis-L. L for loader. The BBC Micro lets you delete source code quite easily, which is quite elegant. Delete ranges of numbers. And all Haggis 1 does is define the graphics for various characters and then load and run the program Haggis-07. Loading Haggis-0B, which is version 11 of the Haggis program, using hexadecimal numbers, we can see how we load the data into memory, ready for us to use it. We do this at the start of the program. Normally we do *load, tune data, and then the address. The address must be hexadecimal. It must be formatted correctly, however, and this is tricky because we don't know what the address is. But doing an OSCLI, we can pass in a variable, and it does it for us, and it works nicely. One of the nastier bugs I discovered while playing the game is sometimes you would collect all the smiley happy faces, and then nothing would happen. You wouldn't actually go to the next screen. This is because sometimes the game wouldn't give you 40 smiling faces to collect, but a lesser number. Here I've counted them and you've only got 36 of them. The code for generating the smiley face location, it generates two numbers between 4 and 29. If the numbers are the same, try again. If either number is 15, try again. And if you've already put a smiling face there, try again. Unfortunately, the code for this is a little bit tricky. This is line 530. And what I found was by adding a simple bracket around this not statement, so if not p% AB equals 0, put it into brackets, and then it just works fine. And I stress tested this by repeatedly calling the procedure over and over again, stopping if the number of bonuses was less than 40. And I ran this under load with the emulator sped up while eating my sandwiches, and it works fine. It's just a bit odd. Now I'm going to show the final glorified Snorkified version, load with chain Haggis-L. This will load and run the Haggis loader, which will set up the special graphics. Haggis loader will then load and run Haggis 12 or Haggis 18 if you prefer in base 10. Haggis 18 will then load the tune data for playing the music. This is the Snorkified Supreme version of Leigh Hugill's Haggis-Bash. I finally looked up how to spell repellent. It ends with an E. as in Repellent. You're Billy Basher. You're facing Harry Haggis and Sammy Spider, collecting turnips and tatties in order to complete your Burns dinner. Keys are ZX, / and Shift is a monster repellent. Lovely tartan screen, Neeps tatties, and away we go with Scotland the Brave. Now the BBC Micro has a sound chip. This is a good thing. While playing a sound, it can actually carry on doing basic stuff, which is lovely. You can also send multiple commands to the sound chip, and it will do them without interrupting your program. This is great. However, there is a limit to how many commands you can give it before it asks you to wait a little bit. So you can have 5 notes in the queue. Once you add the 6th note, the sound chip will make the BBC Basic wait until that first note is finished. And that's what's happening here with the music. It's not quite as fast as it could be, but there, look, Samatha win through, you win an extra Billy Basher with 1,000 points. So that's why the music is a little bit odd. Also at the bottom of the screen there, I put a blob of the wall, show you can't go there. Otherwise it's like a big space you can't move into. There you can quite clearly see you can't go through that space. So there is the Sammy the Spider chasing the Haggis. Will I be able to clear the screen? So level 1 is the slowest level. As you go up the levels it gets faster and faster until it hits a maximum speed. It doesn't get faster and faster forever, but there's a limit to the speed. The Haggises do chase you. Sometimes they do run away of their own accord. Sometimes they run away because of the Haggis repellent. And I think it's really rather pretty. There's always more you can add. For example, with the sound, you can add what's called an envelope to make a more of a warbling sound for the bagpipe. I could use channel 3. Sound has got 3 channel sound. First is for the picking up items. Sound 2 is where the tune comes in. Bagpipes have a drone, which is apparently at pitch A, a constant drone. I could have added that in as well on channel 3. I could have given Billy Basher a kilt. I could have animated Sammy Spider and the Haggises to make them move around a little bit. But I was concerned about memory. I was also concerned about time. I have to get this finished for Burns night. It's currently Burns night afternoon, and I'm out this evening for my second Burns night supper of the weekend. So it really is all go. But I am quite pleased with this. I'll be sending the tape to Jim Blimey, if you want to play with it. It is a Haggis-Bash Snorkified Deluxe, and you load it with Chain Haggis L. And it loads this lovely game. And we've cleared the screen 1. And I now skipped ahead a bit. We're now on to level 9 or screen 9. I've already got 2 extra lives and lost them again. If I get to 7,000 points, I'll get my final extra life. Will I make it? Sammy the Spider's helping out by chomping those evil Haggises. And I might actually make it to screen 10, you never know. It's getting close. 80 more points and I get an extra life. 60 more points. Here come the Haggises. I've got some repellent. Will I use it? Here comes Sammy. If I dash in front of the spider... Oh, and that's game over for Billy Basher. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Why, you're him! Oh, yes, I'm the young pretender. Bonnie Prince Charlie yourself! I have come back from the Isle of Skye to save Scotland and make this the best Burns night ever. Join me in a dram and a happy Burns night to all!